Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's exactly 6 p.m. Cairo local time for the news bulletin coming to you from Channel 2. This is Lamia Abdesattar, and we'll start with the headlines. President Sisi meets Speaker of the Libyan House of Representatives, Aqila Saleh. Prime Minister Medbouli heads to Brazil to participate in the 17th BRICS Summit. And Hamas says its response to Gaza ceasefire proposal in a positive spirit. Two details. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi reaffirmed Egypt's steadfast position in support of Libya and its national institutions, emphasizing the importance of preserving Libya's sovereignty and territorial integrity. President Sisi stressed the need to unify efforts to reach a comprehensive political settlement to the crisis, one that enables the simultaneous holding of presidential and parliamentary elections as soon as possible in a manner that fulfills the Libyan people's aspirations for stability, security, and dignified life. This came during President Sisi's meeting Saturday with Speaker of the Libyan House of Representatives, Aqila Saleh, in the presence of political advisor to the Speaker, Hamid Al-Safi, and Chief of the General Intelligence Services, Major General Hassan Rashad. For his part, Saleh expressed his deep appreciation for the historical and fraternal relations between Egypt and Libya, as well as for the role of the President Sisi and the Egyptian institutions in supporting Libya's unity. Prime Minister Dr. Mustafa Medbouli headed early on Saturday to Brazil to participate in the 17th BRICS Summit on behalf of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in Rio de Janeiro. The premier is due to participate in the convention of the member states of the BRICS. It's noteworthy that BRICS 17th Summit will be held on the 6th and 7th of July under the slogan Boosting Cooperation of South Countries for Sustainable Governance. Hamas said it was ready to start talks immediately on a proposal for a ceasefire in Gaza. The announcement came after it held consultations with other Palestinian factions and before a visit on Monday by Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to Washington, where President Donald Trump is pushing for an end to the war. Now, in its 21st month, we have the details.
Hamas said it has responded in a positive spirit to a U.S.-brokered Gaza ceasefire proposal and was prepared to enter into talks on implementing the deal, which envisages a release of hostages and negotiations on ending the conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump announced a final proposal for a 60-day ceasefire in the nearly 21-month-old Gaza war, saying he anticipated a reply from the parties in the coming hours. Hamas wrote on its official website that the Hamas movement has completed its internal consultations as well as discussions with Palestinian factions and forces regarding the latest proposal by mediators to halt the aggression against people in Gaza. The statement said the movement delivered its response to the brotherly mediators, which was characterized by a positive spirit. Hamas is fully prepared with all seriousness to immediately enter a new round of negotiations on the mechanism for implementing the framework. In a sign of potential challenges still facing the sides, a Palestinian official of a fighter group allied with Hamas said concerns remained over humanitarian aid and clarity over a timetable of Israeli troop withdrawals. Trump said earlier that Israel had agreed to the necessary conditions to finalize a 60-day ceasefire, during which efforts would be made to end the U.S. allies' war in the Palestinian enclave. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who is due to meet Trump in Washington on Monday, has yet to comment on Trump's announcement, and in their public statements, the two sides remain far apart.
Gaza's Civil Defense Agency said Israeli military operations killed 32 people across the war-battered territory on Saturday. The latest death is facilities bombed by the United States and Israel. The U.S. and Israel say Iran was enriching uranium to build nuclear weapons. Tehran insists its nuclear program is for peaceful purposes. Ukraine said it struck a Russian airbase on Saturday while Russia continued to pound Ukraine with hundreds of drones overnight as part of a stepped-up bombing campaign that has further dashed hopes for a breakthrough in efforts to end the more than 3-year-old war. Ukraine's Air Force said Russia fired 322 drones and decoys into Ukraine overnight into Saturday. Of these, 157 were shot down and 135 were lost, likely having been electronically jammed. Russia has been stepping up its long-range attacks on Ukraine. Waves of drones and missiles targeted Kiev overnight into Friday in the largest aerial assault since Russia's invasion of Ukraine began, killing 1 person and wounding at least 26 others. On the other hand, Russia's defense ministry said it shot down 94 Ukrainian drones overnight into Saturday, along with 12 further drones on Saturday morning. No casualties were reported. U.S. President Donald Trump said Ukraine would need Patriot missiles for its defenses after speaking with President Volodymyr Zelensky and voiced frustration over Russian President Vladimir Putin's failure to end the fighting. Trump told reporters that he had a good call with Zelensky, repeating that he was very unhappy about his call with Putin a day earlier, given what he called the Russian leader's refusal to work on a ceasefire. Zelensky said he agreed with Trump to work to strengthen Ukraine's air defenses as concerns mounted in Kiev over continued U.S. military aid deliveries. And moving to economy, OPEC Plus agreed on Saturday to raise production by 548,000 barrels per day in August, further accelerating output increases as at its first meeting since oil prices jumped and then retreated following Israeli and U.S. attacks on Iran. The production boost will come from 8 members of the group: Saudi Arabia, Russia, the UAE, Kuwait, Oman, Iraq, Kazakhstan, and Algeria. The 8 started to unwind their most recent layer of cuts of 2.2 million BPD in April. OPEC Plus cited a steady global economic outlook and healthy market fundamentals, including low oil inventories, as reasons for releasing more oil. BRICS leaders meeting in Rio de Janeiro from Sunday are expected to decry Donald Trump's hardline trade policies, but are struggling to bridge the divides over crises rolling the Middle East. Emerging nations representing about half the world's population and 40% of global economic output are set to unite over what they see as unfair U.S. import tariffs. Diplomats from 11 emerging nations, including Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, have been busy drafting a statement condemning the economic uncertainty. And to the exciting world of sports, where Bayern Munich coach Vincent Kompany said his team's Club World Cup quarter-final clash with Paris Saint-Germain on Saturday at 7 p.m. Cairo local time will be an enthralling encounter because of their similar extreme styles of play. Both Luis Enrique's PSG and Kompany's Bayern, champions of the French and German leagues respectively, like to dominate the ball, press high, and play attacking football. Despite the obvious strength of the Champions League winners, Kompany said there was no side he would rather face than the Parisians. The Belgian coach also hailed his PSG counterpart Luis Enrique, who won the treble with the French side. Kompany said he was happy to see Luis Enrique's determination rewarded. Real Madrid coach Xabi Alonso said superstar striker Kylian Mbappé is better ahead of the Club World Cup quarter-final clash against Borussia Dortmund on Saturday at 11 p.m. Cairo local time, but would not confirm if the Frenchman will start. Mbappé missed all 3 group matches at the tournament with a stomach bug, but returned as a substitute when Madrid edged Juventus 1-0 to reach the last 8. Youngster Gonzalo Garcia has led the line for Madrid in all 4 games and scored 3 goals in the United States. Saturday's game is a repeat of the 2024 UEFA Champions League final, in which Madrid defeated Dortmund 2-0 at Wembley. Ladies and gentlemen, by this we come to the end of our news bulletin coming to you from Channel 2. This is Lamia Abdesattar. Thank you for watching.